First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rekah Kwadash, and the one stills Greek millstone, Wallet is truth, and also to those elect that are scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom, and come back here today with another great powerful lesson, the spirit and the power of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And the type of day lesson is End Time News. So I like to say Shalom, Chol Alayhi Salam. Hope this help you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So before we start the daily lesson, I have a quick news article here by CBS News. And it reads that Russian military exercises in the Caribbean. Here's what to expect. It says here, it said three Russian warships and a nuclear-powered submarine are expected to arrive in Cuba this week ahead of military exercises in the Caribbean, officials said. While the exercises aren't considered a threat to the U.S., American ships has been deployed to shadow the Russian U.S. officials told CBS News. The Russian warships are expected to arrive in Havana on Wednesday and stay until next Monday, Cuba's foreign ministry said in a statement. A U.S. official told CBS News national security correspondent David Martin the U.S. intelligence community has assessed that the submarines in the group of nuclear power, but it isn't carrying nuclear weapons. So we're seeing right here that, things right now are getting very critical. They're not really talking about it too much. It's kind of like what you say, like the quiet before the storm. And a lot of people right now still, are not considering, these warships will be arriving Wednesday. I did a little lesson on it. I think it was maybe about a week ago, a couple of days ago, about these warships headed to Cuba, in Havana, Cuba. And I think about 60 or 90 miles off the coast of Miami. So they're sitting right in America's backyard. So a lot of people really not even reporting it, like it's nothing. So, just like the days of Noah, they was, going on with their daily lives, and all of a sudden, so that's what we constantly warning you about, even though it will sound like a broken record, but these are the times that we're living in, so, warship, and also a nuclear submarine. So, hey, and a lot of people are not considering the signs of the times. And one thing about it, that, war is in the air, whether you believe it or not. So a lot of people right now are still a docile, still, hey, man, we're here. And also in the news, it was already reports once again of the end of the petrodollar agreement, so we still are measuring our time diligently on it. It's, there's a few reports on it, so it's been very quiet. Also, this is a very quiet, rich in fact, this, need to be sounding the law each and every day. And also we know that it's constantly talks about the dollar is crashing. We're getting ready to go into this new digital platform, which in fact is this blockchain technology. And one thing about it, we know that the BRICS are getting ready to announce or have announced a new currency, and also they saying that Saudi Arabia is a new member. So we seeing a lot of things are picking up. And also we saying this about this bird flu. It said it was another case. I think they said it was around Texas. I'm not sure, but they're saying it's constantly spreading, constantly increasing. And also there's already talks about coming with another hokey pokey. You understand what I'm saying? Another juicy juice, for this bird flu. So we already know what this is going. And also this heat dome, this extreme heat across the world. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, we already know that, this they gonna constantly bring forth some type of pandemic or some type of lockdown. So we know that they're coming. Also earthquakes and all these different strange weather patterns. So it's a lot to be watching out for. So we're seeing that right now. Things are constantly picking up, Russian military exercises in the Caribbean. here's what to expect. So you see it right here. But a lot of people, they still, is everyone just it's really not too much talk about it. They're keeping it like low key. So one thing about this is the quiet before the storm. And also he's saying that if it's possible, if this is true, that the petrodollar is done, this agreement, that they set up in 1974, then we already knowing that hyperinflation is coming very soon. Also, we're coming upon a great economic collapse. It's already been prophesied, so we knowing that it's going to happen. And one thing about it, we're seeing that Bible prophecy constantly being fulfilled left and right. And also, we're seeing that Putin is constantly warning the West, NATO and also America about constantly interfering with Ukraine. Also, we're seeing now that Russia is bringing these warships in retaliation of what the United States did, I think, a couple of days ago, that they okayed that Ukraine could use U.S. weapons in to hit Russian targets. So a lot of things are picking up. Also, China is still rumors of China's getting ready to invade Taiwan. So it's so many things are constantly going on left and right. Things are happening. So we already knowing what happened April the 8th when he had this solar eclipse. That X marked the spot. So we seeing that America is constantly getting what X'd out every day. So a lot of things is constantly happening. Also, what's in the news, I heard that France, the U.S. and Britain, are on permanent nuclear alert. So hey man, it's a lot of things are happening. So man, things are getting ready to go crooked. And also, there's still rumors of it could be a black swan event. So we're here, man. So let's get a quick precept, just a quick lesson through the Spirit once again. Let's start here. Jeremiah chapter 28 and verse 8. We'll start here. Jeremiah chapter 28 and verse 8 said, the prophets that had been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries, against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. So that's constantly what we're warning you about, a war. You're already knowing that we're seeing that these warships are right now in approaching Havana, Cuba, so, right there in our own backyard. Also, we warning you about an evil time. We telling you about this, Jacob's trouble. We telling you about the hour of temptation. Also, we telling you about World War III pestilence, plagues, this bird flu, also disease X. So the prophets before, prophesied back then, back in Moses' time, back in Lot's and Gomorrah time, also in these times. There's no new thing under the sun, even though that we're sounding like a broken record, but hey man, it's spot on. We're seeing that these things are constantly coming to pass, and we're seeing that, the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets. So as that's reading in the NLT, he said the ancient prophets who preceded you said, and me spoke against many nations, always warning of war, disaster, and disease. So right there's always warning, sounding like a broken record. A lot of our people right now still are stiff-necked, still are foolish, still are sided. Just like it said in Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, my people are destroyed for what? A lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, the Lord will also reject thee, and also your children also. So we know we're coming upon that time. Judgment is at hand also. Verse 9 said, the prophets which prophesied of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord had truly sent him. So in that day, they shall know that the prophet was among them, even though they saying the same thing over and over and over and over. But that's why the Lord said, warn them for me. Get on your asses left and right. Whether you will hear or whether you will forbear. Only thing we trying to do is present the evidence, and after that, the Spirit of the Lord, if the Lord is dealing with you, you will receive this message. But one thing about it is that we are here. We're seeing that we're living in some serious time. Russia is not playing around. America is constantly poking the bear. That's why we're constantly bringing these things out. So I'll have one short video, and after the video, we will start the lesson, and I hope that you will get edified.
Something very big is about to happen, and we better be paying attention to it. And there are like 5 huge news developments that we need to cover today, which have massive implications for Western powers. And I'm going to show you something also that's very, very strange that NATO just did, which no mainstream media are covering right now, and it's very concerning. But first, let's start with something that's coming to the Western Hemisphere. On Friday, Russian President Putin started sending a massive armada of battleships headed right for Cuba, right off of Florida's coast.
Russian warships are on their way to Cuba this morning. That happened back in the 1960s, the Cuban Missile Crisis. It was just a little thing. Comes days after a warning from Vladimir Putin that Russia could provide weapons to actors that would then attack Western targets over those countries' support of Ukraine.
Early this coming week, if you're standing in Key West, Florida, using your binoculars, you will likely see something that looks like this. Yes, Russian warships performing massive military training exercises, docking in Havana Harbor, right in our backyard. How the hell did this happen? Incompetence, failure on the part of America's leadership is how it happened. That we are sitting now on the brink of another Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, nuclear-powered Russian submarines, destroyers with cruise missiles that can easily attack American cities, and warships that make our Navy ships seem old just by modern standards. Just look at this map.
This is Havana, where the Russian fleet will be docking. And this is Miami, the closest American city. The air distance between Havana and Miami is barely 366 kilometers. Zircon, like we told you, can travel up to 1,000 kilometers, meaning it can strike as far as South Carolina.
You probably haven't seen this on the news in the United States at all because they don't want you to know about it. Just like commenter Denise says right here, what's so crazy here in the United States? None of this is in the news. Yes, Denise, exactly, Denise, because they are hiding it. Wait until you see what else they're hiding.
So we seeing right there, a lot of these things are not in the news. A lot of people be thinking, oh, I don't believe this, I don't believe that. That's why, it would come just like a regular day when people were not aware or not watching. So, we're not ignorant of Satan's device. That's why the Lord set up watchmen, constantly warning you each and every day, and hey, that's what we're here for, And one thing about it, we know that the Lord is getting ready to bring forth all sorts of calamities and catastrophes around the world. We're constantly seeing it picking up. It's constantly escalating. So now, let's go here. Quick lesson through the Spirit. Let's go here to Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. And we'll start up at we're going to be jumping around a little bit. Let's start up at verse 22. Luke chapter 21, we'll start up at verse 22. We're going to jump around a little bit. Salakia. Luke chapter 22, Salakia. We'll start here. It said Luke 21 and 22. And it reads here, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Let's read it in NLT. It said, for those will be the days of the almighty vengeance, and the prophetic words of the scriptures will be fulfilled. So this is plain and simple right here. So all things are getting ready to be fulfilled. That said measure is almost here. All hell is getting ready to break loose. They're constantly not reporting these things in the news. Just like I told you about the petrodollar agreement, saying that, that Saudi was not going to renew their contract with America. So it's not even in the news. But one thing about it, we're gonna measure the time diligently. If that is happening, we already knowing that the dot is already circling the drain. We already knowing we read upon this economic collapse. Also, we know that we are transitioning into a digital society, dealing with your biometrics. Universal basic income, also social credit score, digital IDs, tracking and tagging, total control. So this is here. Let's read this once again. It said Luke chapter 21 and verse 22 said, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. So, our salvation is at the door. And one thing about it, the Lord word will not return to him void. We're seeing that these things are speaking loud and clear. At the end, it shall speak and not lie. So let's drop down to verse 25, Luke 21 and verse 25. So it reads here, it says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations and perplexity. The sea and the waves are roaring. So right now, we already know that, the Lord says, shall there be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars. So we already know what happened April the 8th. Ever since then, all things have been constantly picking up. All sorts of biblical prophecies just constantly left and right. It's constantly happening left and right. And the seas and the waves are roaring. We're seeing a lot of things constantly happening. The vibration is changing. Let's read it in the NLT. It said, and there will be strange signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and here on earth the nation will be in turmoil, uh, uh, perplexed by the roaring seas and strange tides. So that's what we're seeing right there, left and right. A dark forecast, the quiet before the storm. Also, we're seeing that a lot of these nations right now, is what against another nation rising up. We're seeing the heathens are raging. So let's go here to verse 26. Salaki. It said, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. So one thing about it, so men's hearts will be failing them. The fear of what's coming upon the earth. We already telling you about this. What World War III is right at the door. The wars of all wars. Ezekiel chapter 30 is lining up just like clockwork. And also, what I'm saying, we're seeing that what's coming upon the earth. What I'm saying, the powers of heaven shall be shaken. So a lot of things are coming upon us. Those IBCM missiles, and things that go nuclear at any given time. And once again, a nuclear alert, a permanent nuclear alert is, I think France, the U.S. and Britain will be on permanent nuclear alert because of what happened, that America gave Ukraine the okay to use their weapons to hit Russian targets. And also in retaliation, Russia is doing a military exercise in our own backyard. And also they are saying that they're going to give their weapons to our adversaries. So one thing about it, it's going to be an even playing field. That there's Putin said, you constantly doing what we're going to do it. And also I think it was on the World Star that said that Russia has announced that America, the U.S. is the enemy. So, hey, man, we're seeing, hey, man, these things are picking up. So let's read this once again. Let's read it in NLT. It said, people will be terrified at what they see coming upon the earth, for the powers in the heavens will be shaken. So, hey, we very close to that time. We constantly warning you, left and right, all of a sudden. Let's drop down to verse 34. Let's drop down here. Luke chapter 21 and verse 34. And it reads, and take heed to yourself, lest at any time your heart be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that the day come upon you unawares. So a lot of people right now are unaware, and these things are constantly coming closer and closer. And one thing about it, we're one step closer to what? All hell breaking loose. Let's read in the NLT. It said, watch out. Don't let your heart be dulled by carousing and drunkenness and by the worries of this life. Don't let that day catch you unaware. So one thing about it, a lot of people gonna get caught up in it. In what? The house of mirth, folly, all sorts of things that constantly rocking you back to sleep from the left hand side. So that's what's happening right now. We're seeing it. That's why the Lord said the number one thing to watch, be vigilant. It's that tongue twister. But one thing about it, we know right now that we're here, everything is constantly lining up. The Bible is faithful and true. Verse 35 said, for as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Verse 36 said, watch ye therefore, and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua. So we seeing right here, watch ye therefore, pray always that you be accounted worthy, to escape these things. And one thing about it, we knowing that the second coming of our Lord and Savior is very close. Our salvation is at the door. We're in that transition to power. We see it. We got to be watching at all times. So let's read it in the NLT. It say, keep alert at all times, and pray that you might be strong enough to escape these coming horrors and stand before the Son of Man, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, these coming horrors, Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. It is fast approaching. The mental law will constantly warning you left and right. And also what? The famine of the word, it is fast approaching. So let's get one more and we'll close out. Let's go here to the KJV. Let's go here to 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Let's go here. We'll close out here. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 40. And it reads, O my people, hear my words. Make you ready to thy battles, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And one thing about it, the Lord said, hear my words. So how do you hear the words of the Lord? What the prophets, out in the highways and byways, making these video epistle left and right. But we knowing that the Lord is getting ready to bring it to a close. We already seeing warnings over here. We seeing all sorts of events and conflicts throughout the world every day. Talking about this extreme heat, every day. And also it's already saying it's about 5 tropical storms out in the Gulf of Mexico, so we know that things are constantly heating up, death and destruction, the beginning of sorrow. A lot of things are at the door. The Lord, said will guide us spiritually. And also the Lord said in Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1, the archangel Michael is getting ready to stand up for the children of Israel. So things are getting ready to get very, very bad. A lot of people are still playing games, constantly loving folly, all sorts of wickedness, that hate the good, love evil. And one thing about it, the Lord is constantly bringing it to a close. We're seeing that the earth is changing very quickly. The days are passing very fastly. And the middle of the Lord, we're constantly sounding the Lord. And one thing about it, that, we're seeing that we are here. So let's read it once again. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 will close out. In verse 40 it says, O my people, hear my words. Hear the words of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Said, make you ready to thy battle. What is that battle? Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. And one thing about it, the Lord said, through much tribulation, ye shall enter the kingdom of heaven. It said, and in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Trust in the Lord. Lean not on your own understanding. The Lord said he will provide for us. The Lord said he will sustain us. And also the Lord is getting ready to come to deliver us with great glory and great power. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is End Time News. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rekah Kwadash. I'd like to say, Shalom, Shalom.